tell you
that I'm sorry for
the things I've done. Good morning, chat. Good morning. Good morning. I finally got a ring light. Wow, real ring light, Santa? Yeah, I did.
that's when you have to tell me.
Hey, who's tapping? Thanks for the taps. Good morning, chat. Good morning. Let's get some people in here. This is so phobic. Phobic? Your big mouth shut. That's why it hurts so bad. Oh man, you know what? I was sick. I didn't go live yesterday. Or I didn't go live, what was yesterday? Monday. Was it Monday or Sunday? Oh man, I'm still not 100%, not even close. Falling for your man. Tell me why. Nervous, thanks for the likes. There was somebody else, and their name was hard to read. It was like Arbiter or something. I'm going to have to look again. It shows who taps the screen, but it also shows who joins. So at the beginning of the live, you don't really see who taps the screen very often. Nervous. Thank you. Auburninator? Is that what I'm going to have to look at that one, because it just shows for a second. That's a tough one. Santa, am I getting Christmas gifts this year? The year's not over, sweetheart. You gotta stay good right up till the very end. Thanks for the follow, Ariana. Good morning, chat. Let me turn down Annie Lennox a little bit. This boat is sinking. This boat is sinking. Nervous, thank you so much for that. Thank you so much. Good morning, chat. Let's get the taps up. Let's get some people in here. I got 3 conversations for you to choose from. Wowee. It's like a small menu. You know what? I didn't bring shit. I'm like, I didn't bring... what's funny is I have a roll. This is my Donald Trump toilet paper. I don't want to use it for my nose. I'm still recovering from being sick, and I didn't bring a roll of toilet paper. I might have to get a roll of toilet paper. Nervous. Thank you for the heart puff passes. Thank you for the heart puff passes. Larry has lots of tears in his eyes, honey. Are they tears of joy because you turned me on and saw you turned me on? You turned on your phone and saw me? Yeah, if you turned me on, that'd make you have tears of joy too. Thanks again for those heart puff passes. Chat, I'm just waking up. It's 6:24 here. Let's have some people come in. I don't really understand number 3. Sure. When I say there's more than 2 genders, I'm saying there's always been more than men and women. There's always been more than men and women. And I could show you examples. I literally can teach you about 2 spirit identities, and I could teach you about the Hydra. Ava, thank you for that flower, sweetheart. Oh, Ava, that smells. Chat, good morning. It's 6:25 in the morning here in beautiful Washington State. The sun has yet to rise. Do you think it's going to come up again? Do you think the sun's going to come up again? I got a ring light, everybody. Wow. Can you see little circles in my eyeballs? I don't think I have a good enough ring light to do that. Good morning, chat. How's everyone doing? MAGA hates the LGBTQIA2S+. I want to talk to you, MAGA. I want to talk to you. Oh, we don't hate you. I mean, we don't agree with it, and keep away from schools and away from and stay out of the bathrooms. But we don't hate you. I want to talk to you, MAGA. Right? Leave trans kids alone. Yeah. How dare you? How dare you, Republican Party, make a political issue out of other people's goddamn children? Shame on you. Shame on you. And it's all under the guise of, oh, these 1 in thousands of kids are going to have a bad outcome, or their parents are pushing it on them, or the doctors are cruel, or maybe the public school teacher has something to do with it. It's bullshit. This is America. You got to raise your kids with your values. And you also get to find the medical care you deem appropriate for your children. You don't get to tell the neighbors down the street, oh, yeah, that's not the right health care. And how dare you affirm your kid's gender identity, right? You should understand that's a slippery fucking slope. If you're a Republican and you have American values, how can you reconcile the fact that you want to legislate against other people's families because they're not doing it in your Christian way, right? There are more than two genders, yeah. So there's always been male and female when we talk about the human species, right? And male and female is not always black and white. And there's so much variation in nature. I always have to throw that in there. But there's always been more than men and women. There's always been more than men and women right where you're standing. If you're in the United States, there's been more than men and women. And of course there still are. Ask a non-binary person. So those are the conversations for this morning. I don't know why the music turned off. Did I turn it off? I turned it off. I turned the volume all the way down. Hey, here's the deal. Welcome to the Gay Santa Show. Please get my taps up. If you're a disagreeer, hit the guest request button. It's the cute pink and blue people. At the bottom of your phone, free conversation with Gay Santa. I'm 49, I'm a liberal, and I'm an elder queer. Hey, thanks for the follow. Is it... Oh, Sia J. Wayjay? Thanks for the follow. I love the cat face. If you haven't followed me, please do. I do go live regularly. You know what? I didn't go live Sunday or Monday. I was sick. I'm still a little crummy feeling. And it felt like forever. I'm like, I didn't go live forever because I go live all the damn time. I don't know what you mean. What does 2S mean? Sure. 2S stands for Two Spirit. So before colonialization, right, before white men set foot on North America, which indigenous people call Turtle Island, there were thousands of indigenous societies, thousands of tribes. They all had their own unique languages and cultures and spiritual practices. Anyways, many of these tribes not only recognized more than men and women, they revered these people. They absolutely revered these people. They would identify a child as special, and they'd be like, hey, this isn't a regular kid. This is a two-spirit kid, right? This kid's going to have access to knowledge most people don't have. This is going to be someone that's going to lead ceremonies. This is going to be someone that adopts orphan children. Chris, Chris, that's disgusting and you're wrong. Is there a moderator in here? I want to mute her. I want to mute Chris first. Yeah, outrageous, absolutely outrageous. Well, you know what's so funny? I'm sure Chris is a white man. And if you want to talk about brutality, right? Start with white people. If you want to talk about brutality, you should start with white people. I got somebody named Scooby-Doo. They're on follow back. I am looking for disagreeers. Scooby, I don't want some strange dog coming up here telling me they agree with me. So,
Hello.
hey, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How old are you?
I'm 26.
Awesome. Did you want to have a conversation? Are you a disagreeer first off?
No, I'm not. I was gonna talk to you and say I agreed with you.
Oh, well, you know what? I appreciate that you agree with me, but it's going to scare away my viewership. Nobody wants to hear random people who agree with an old queer. They want to see an old queer argue with people. It says there's 88 of you here. I know there's disagreeers. I see you in the chat. I see you in the chat. And I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you. This is my hobby. I enjoy talking to people that disagree with me. I absolutely do. Bring Scooby back. Go fight with Scooby. I can't. No, I can't. Good morning, Mother. Mother Nocturne. You realize it not all white people, right? It was literally one of the English whites. Oh my gosh, that was the funniest shit I read today. Did you hear about that? I know, my day's just starting. He said not all white people, it was the English whites. Is that how white works, huh? Is that how race works? Good, that's an interesting take, right? Yeah, I mean, I could concur that Great Britain's terrible, their history is terrible, and to this day, they're actually proud about all the destruction they did around the world. Like, we made those countries or some bullshit. Right, I could agree with you that they're terrible. This idea that, it was just the English whites that did terrible things. And I'm talking historically. I'm talking about Americans. I'm talking about white Americans, what they did. Not fucking English people. Anyways, good morning, chat. Good morning. I'm not going to beg. I'm not going to beg for someone to hit the guest request button anymore. It feels demeaning. Thank you for that, Heart Me. It's 6:31 in the morning. Yeah, Serenity, of course. You know, it was even more so when I was growing up, right? It was even more so. This guy Oh, do you know what's so funny is I don't have a fucking. Do I have a moderator here? I need somebody blocked. I'm gonna have to block her myself, right? Here's the deal. Oh gosh, where's the comment? Is there a moderator in here? Does somebody want to? Is there a regular in here that wants to help moderate? Um, I don't. You know what's so funny is I can't even keep track. I can't tell. I can't tell who's trying to say disgusting things about me and who's trying to defend me. Please tap the screen. I want to tell you that it's disgusting homophobia, right? I came out 30 years ago when I was 19, 30 years ago in 1995. And homophobia is more disgusting than ever. There was a short period, actually, right when I came out, that like gays were celebrated, gay men were celebrated. Oh, gay men, they smell nice, they dress nice, they're funny, right? All those stereotypes were almost celebratory. Anyways, now it's 2025, right? And thanks to our disgusting American culture, thanks to people being bigoted and hateful, thanks to people getting raised poorly, if raised at all, right? To hate people, to Christian mythology, all the bullshit. I get it every time I go online. I absolutely know. I know 100% that someone's going to say, if not verbally in my box, someone's going to say something in the comments. They're going to say, "Oh, you're a groomer." It's so fucked up and disgusting. It's disgusting for so many reasons. First off, that word used to mean something. That is actually a legal word. That's a word used in courtrooms, and it's used to describe a person that gains the trust of the child and the parent, right? Somebody from the church, somebody from the school, the parents trust that person with their child, right? You fucking straight people, you need to be accountable for your own children, because it's always your own fault when shit like that happens, when you bring somebody into your house. But now it's 2025. Oh, there's a gay man on my phone. He's grooming children, right? Disgusting. You're disgusting. And I want to get some. I want to get some moderators in here. Robert, are you talking about your daddy in the comments? Are you absolutely talking about your daddy? Oh my goodness. Oh, what's your plan, Chris? Please look at who I follow. Oh, that's right. I don't let people see who I follow, because that's a bullshit thing to do. And I wouldn't. Who do you think I fucking follow? Chat. I can't put up with it. I can't put up with the comments. I need a moderator here to keep things clean. Let me see if I got someone online. Yeah, it's disgusting. No, I follow a lot of random things from other countries. I'm inviting Katie, Ed Summer. And I want to be clear, chat. Don't message me. I don't message anybody on TikTok. Not anybody. This is not my messaging platform. Hey, Mark's here. Mark, do you want to help me moderate? I took a few days off, and it's so damn early. I don't have any moderators. And here's the thing too. Ash is here. Ash is here now, chat, and he's fast with his fingers. You better keep it cute, or Ash is going to put you on mute. I love actually that I'm getting things scrolling by so fastly, but I am looking to talk to someone. Here's the conversations. MAGA hates the LGBTQIA2S+. If you don't believe it, read my goddamn comments. Read my fucking comments. Leave trans kids alone. Yeah. Leave fucking kids alone. Leave other people's children alone. You don't care about those trans kids, right? You care about trans people a whole lot. There are more than two genders. Yeah, y'all don't even know the difference between sex and gender. And the idea, too, there's academically, gender studies is a field, right? People devote their lives to studying different genders. The sociologies, the cultural significance and history. Oh my goodness, chat. What's everybody up to? And how come I can't get a guest request? It's such a buzzkill. It's absolutely such a buzzkill. Hey Cora, thanks for being here. Angel's here, yay! Angel's here. Angel, sweetheart, I'm getting trolled hard this morning, and I'm a little sick. And there's nobody to delete the nasty comments. Here's the deal, chat. I'm going to be honest. It hurts. It actually hurts. It hurts that I have to be called the most disgusting person there is because I'm openly queer with an opinion different than yours. It absolutely hurts. It's actually so inflammatory that if it happened in public, if somebody knew me in public and said that, I could sue them for defamation, and I wouldn't have to prove any damages. It's considered intrinsically damaging for someone to say something disgusting like that about you in public. But welcome to TikTok, you know. And the truth is, I'm happy to expose you. I'm happy to expose your hatred, and it's worth it. It's worth it. And of course, I get to turn off my phone and go back to my regular life where everyone's quite nice to me. Honey, you don't even know how to spell Sue, honey. You're spelling it like somebody's name, T. You're an example of how shitty American education is. Don't block funny clips. Oh, disgusting. Hey, I love that my moderators are here. And this is another example of the homophobia. As they want to ascribe child predators as the same thing as a sexuality, right? Oh, when somebody talks about something that happens to little girls, nobody goes, oh, look, another heterosexual crime, another disgusting old heterosexual. Here's the deal, chat. I want to educate you. Let me turn down George Michael. I want to educate you about your heterosexual community, right? This is statistics. It's from UnchainedAtLast.org. 10-year-old little girls, 5 of them got legally married in this country, right? And when I say legally married, these are government-sanctioned marriages. These are as legal as your parents' marriage, right? Republicans, it's the Republican Party that fights to keep child marriage intact. It's federally intact without a bottom age limit, so those states get to decide how young the little girl's going to be, right? And Republicans are worried. If one of these 78, 13-year-old little girls gets pregnant, and she can't marry that full-grown man, she might want to get an abortion. You know how strongly Republicans love those fetuses and little girls, right? I did put at the bottom, straight pride flag. These are all heterosexual marriages, chat. These are all heterosexual parents often auctioning their daughters into a straight marriage. It's disgusting. Your community is disgusting. Oh, that made me feel better. I forget that I have statistics about how you all fight to marry little girls. You know what's so funny? Day one in office, Trump does the executive order. There's only 2 genders, male and female, right? This is what Trump needs to take care of. Day one in office, only 2 genders, male and female. It's bullshit. Those are sexes. And that was an attack. That was an attack on trans people, on intersex people, on Two-Spirit people. He could have done the executive order day one in office. It's illegal to marry little girls. Even 17-year-olds shouldn't get married, right? They're not legal adults. They don't have their rights yet. Even a 17-year-old girl, she can't go to a DV shelter unless her guardian signs her in. Oh yeah, the guy that's abusing her husband is supposed to sign her into the DV shelter, right? She can't run away from home because she's a child still. Oh wait, the child is her home is a marital home with her abusive husband. Instead of addressing that, because you're Republican Party, you all want to keep it up. You want to marry little girls. But instead of taking care of that, Trump has to attack trans people, and you're all happy about it. It's kind of disgusting that with all the shit going on in this country, you're happy to focus your ire and hatred on 1% of the population. It's kind of fucking disgusting. I have a few accounts, but this is my regular one now. This is my regular one. I'll tell you, I used to get in trouble on the app, but they've eased up on me, which is nice. All of the nastiness in the comments is you know what? Moderators, I don't know if you know Ash. Of course, Angel knows. Those comments about children, that's a block. That's a block, right? I would never want to engage with somebody like that. So disgusting. They don't need to stay in my space. So those are instant blocks. Instant blocks. Yeah. Thank you for the block. Welcome to Santa's block party. I have the biggest gay block party on TikTok. It's the most exclusively biggest and gayest block party on TikTok, and you're going to it. Thank you. Thank you for sending love. I took a couple days off. I have bronchitis. I got on the antibiotics the morning I woke up feeling it. I'm old enough to know what it feels like to get sick. But I still, that was gross, right? I'm still hacking a little bit. I'm prone to bronchitis, and I think it's because I have huge lungs. Let me ask the AI. Hey Google, are people with big lungs, are they more prone to get bronchitis?
No, having big lungs or a larger total lung capacity is not listed as a risk factor for bronchitis.
Well, there you go. There goes according to the AI, my idea that I have big lungs is not why I'm getting bronchitis. Chat, keep up the taps. I can't believe, let me check my stats. I've been live for 20 full minutes. I have gotten 12 followers. I've been live for 20 minutes and I haven't had one guest request except for a friendly. Right in the beginning there was a friendly and I dropped them. Hey, Hassan, you're going to the block party too. You absolutely are going to the block party. Do you know the thing is right, I brought up child marriage and how that's endemic of the straight community, how straight men have been marrying little girls from the beginning of time, right? But I never actually, I don't clap back and say, oh, statistically, oh, it's actually men that are heterosexual or men that are the most child abusers, right? I don't do that because I don't want to do what you do and try to conflate a child victim, a child victimizer with a sexuality, right? I wouldn't want to conflate, even though if you look statistically, thank you for the heart puff plus masses. It's very much heterosexual men, right? Married men. Ash, my moderators are doing a great job. They're blocking and they're pop blocking. I'm going to change the radio up, chat. Let me find something to play. I'm going to find something more fun to play. Oh gosh, I still took my walk yesterday, and I was pretty sick. But I think it's still good for you to exercise when you're sick. I need to liven things up in here. Give me a second. I wish River was here. River loves this song. Here we go.
Everything with one single word. You know? Like Liberty, Tesla, fried chicken, party in the Hollywood Hills, this song, oh my god, that new beat, oh my god, is this real?
I got a new beard balm.
Oh my god, this song's so lit.
It's Burt Beeswax.
You be like, gang, 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 gang.
You really have to emulsify it. Is that the right word? Everything's gnarly. I'm a shit. I'm the shit. Hey, I love that there are people hanging out here. I don't know if you followed me or if you've seen me before. I actually have great conversations, and I enjoy them. I'm trying to engage more with the chat. Yes, Mega can't stand loser liberals like you. Oh, you got me, female. They spelled their name female with a PH, right? Weird. Oh, hey, ADHD. I got the ADHD myself, sweetheart. I'm happy to have you here. Yeah, well, you know what? Horror nerd. I hate when there's not a space between the words. It really throws me off. Horror nerd. You horror nerd. What was I going to say? Oh, you know there's so much homosexuality in nature, and there's so much variation in nature. My argument would always be, of course it's natural. People have been doing it since the conception of people. People have been doing it historically. There's always been trans people. There's always been queer people. There's been societies. There's been big societies historically where homosexual activity was ubiquitous. It was expected that guys were going to have gay sex too. Like that was just a thing guys did, right? So yeah, it's natural. Trust me. What me and my boyfriend do is natural. Chat, I've been dating a guy for a month, and I care about him. I don't think we're compatible. I think we're going to roll it back a little bit. But he has the nicest heart, right? Like he loves animals. Um, I got someone named Jersey Joe. Jersey Joey, I'm so happy to have this person. This is my first guest request of the morning. Hello, Jersey Joey. How old are you and how you doing?
I'm good. How are you? I'm 38 years old.
Awesome. Thank you for joining. What conversation would you like to have this morning?
So, just a few things, just on the three topics you have. We talked about the first two. So, when you say MAGA hates the LGBTQ, right?
Yep.
What makes you say that? Because hate's a strong word, in my opinion.
Well, hate is a strong word, and
Yep.
it's very much hate filled. What's going on? Trump's made a political issue out of trans people, and it didn't turn 2025, and 1% of the population needed rained on and legislated against. He did this to get votes, and the people that vote because of trans people, the people that are worried about shoving it down your throats and the men and women's sports and stuff, they hate trans people. They hate trans people, and I could feel it. The whole fucking community. Since he's been elected, people have been emboldened to be racist, homophobic, transphobic, disgusting, sexists.
Well,
Yeah.
let me ask you this. So, I'm still a registered Democrat, right? I still have very liberal views when it comes to social issues. I believe, to me, it never made any sense how two strangers can get married in Las Vegas, but two men or two women who've been in love for 25 years can't get married. Never made any sense to me. I'm all for love who you want to love, be who you want to be. I'm all for that, right? So that doesn't sound like I'm anti LGBTQ, correct?
No, that doesn't sound anti-LGBTQ, but I want to throw in that gay marriage is on the table. It's and I'm because the court has been stacked with conservative justices by Trump, and the Supreme Court was never supposed to be a political body. Yeah, because of that, they're going to win, and gay marriage is going to become a states issue like it used to be.
So
There's
I yeah, but no, I appreciate it, and I haven't seen anything where Trump said that he's going to overturn gay marriage.
No,
Um,
The Supreme Court has already written about how it should be overturned. Clarence Thomas wrote about it, and several states are taking it to the Supreme Court for them to weigh in on it. And I would never believe that they could have reversed Roe versus Wade from the 70s and made that healthcare for women and to a states issue, but that happened too, Jersey. Go ahead.
Right. No, I understand that. But this is where I kind of lead to this, right? Because if we're going to call everyone transphobic, right? Because I said what I just said and I mean what I said. But I also, at this point, I don't think it's equal rights that the trans community is fighting for. I think it's privilege what they're fighting for. Hence why they're getting the pushback that they're getting, right? So
Okay.
when you go ahead.
I want to understand the privilege, and I want to tell the chat something real quick. Hey, chat, I got someone named Casey in the guest request. I just do 1v1 conversations. I want to be at 23,000 likes, so I'm going to hang out with Jersey, and I think you can make it that long at least. So go ahead, Jersey. Tell me about this privilege that trans people want.
Right. So when you start stating that I am now a woman, so I'm going to be able to compete against biological women, that's a privilege, just not a right. Right. When you start,
Wait,
when you
I got to weigh on one thing at a time because I'll get overwhelmed. Okay. First off, do you think that trans women in sports was like a political issue? Do you think what Biden decided? Hey, this is what the Democratic Party's doing. And do you think that you just identify your way into competitive sports? Like you wake up one day, like Mike Tyson could start boxing women tomorrow if he said he was a woman. Is that how you think that goes?
I think the left would accept it. I think that it did turn into a political issue, especially in the 2024 campaign.
Well,
Uh,
it has turned into a political issue, and you said you think the left would accept it. And I'll tell you what. First, I want to say, I wish Kamala stood up for trans people. She didn't want to touch it, and the truth is, it should never have been a political issue. Let me ask you, who decided to put trans women in women's sports? Who decided to let them compete with women?
when was the first trans athlete?
Who was the first trans athlete? Oh, that's an interesting question. I'm not sure. I think that there was somebody. There's been a few actually, like historically, but I'm not sure who the first trans athlete is. I want to ask you though, who decided? Who decided that trans women can compete in women's sports with cis women? Who decided that?
So unless I know when the first trans athlete was, it's hard for me to answer that question, right?
Well, you're talking about like people identifying themselves into sports, like nobody's making rulings. So people that study sports are called sports scientists, and there's governing bodies that make rules for sports, and the idea is to make the sports fair, right? They're the ones that said after 2 to 3 years, of totally blocking your testosterone and having as much or more bioidentical estrogen as your cisgendered counterparts, any advantage, inherent advantage from male puberty is gone. That's what the scientists said. That's what the science said, and I wish it didn't. I wish it didn't, because there was 2 fucking trans women did something in sports years ago, and people are still so pissed off about trans people in sports when every trans person I know just wants to have a regular life. They're not worried about competing in sports, right? So
Right.
the scientists decided it, and the Republicans decided to turn it into a political issue, and the Democrats were afraid to touch it and to stand up for it. And the truth is, the idea that the president wants to rein in on sports, there's 2 or 3 trans athletes out of hundreds of thousands, collegiate trans athletes. This is this issue that the president needs to weigh on. It's absolute bullshit. And I'm going to reiterate myself. He's doing it. He's doing it to farm hatred. He's doing it because it pisses people off.
Well, again, so a few things. So to me, it's more about the belief that a trans athlete should be able to compete against a biological female than it is about how many trans athletes we actually have, right? So that's A. It's this whole mindset. So again, still a registered Democrat. Just I feel as though this party has gone completely away from me, and it's completely far left. Hence why you have millions of people leaving this party, and hence why we have a 34 count felon just won in November.
Well, do you think that like Democrats are like, I want the sign? It shouldn't be a political issue, and it's been turned into it, and you believe it. You're one of the people that thinks, oh, the Democratic Party supports this.
Of course.
Yeah, that's bullshit. It's
Well,
bullshit.
let me ask you this: who do you think the 2028, as of right now, when we look at this picture that we have today, who do you think would be the 2028 Democrat candidate for president?
I'm not sure. I'm absolutely not sure.
Well, it's kind of leaning toward Gavin Newsom. Could change, obviously, but let's just say it's Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom had an interview with Charlie Kirk, and he said, I don't think it's fair that trans athletes compete against biological women. The next day, there was protests on his front lawn to where he had to completely change his narrative. That's not what I meant. So if we're going to say that the Democrats don't weasel their way back into this shit, but then we're not being honest with each other, correct?
Well, you know what? I would have to look into that. I would have to look into it, and I'd have to see the context, and I'd have to see what he said about trans people and trans athletes. But the thing is, and you should see that it is a point, that a point that I made. There's absolutely very few trans people in sports, and you're going to say, I'm bringing up Mark because he's a friendly, and he wants to address what you said about the politics. He follows politics more closely than me, actually. Let's see if he joins. He's a fellow Washingtonian, chat. Mark, good morning. Did you join to address what Jersey Joey just said?
Hey, I just want to rebut. Does everybody on the right represent the Republican Party? I don't think so. And so, yeah, it's just about fairness. And, like, not everybody on the left, you said it multiple times, not everybody on the left stands for, transgender rights, which is a shame because everybody should.
They absolutely should.
But, yeah, everybody's not protesting. Gavin, I'm a Democrat, and I fully support Pete Buttigieg, and they were angry about what Pete Buttigieg said about transgender sports, too. So,
Mark, I want to tell you, you got like planes taken off behind you, but I appreciate your insight. I'm gonna redirect the conversation with Jersey Joey because I actually suspect, and like I said, I wish it wasn't a political issue. I wish the people that made the scientific decision based in science didn't make that decision, and they weren't thinking about all the backlash, right? What I want to say is, if you are worried about fairness in sports, and that's a big issue to you, right? You should support gender affirming care for minors, because if a trans girl, and I suspect that in the future, only trans women who did not have a male puberty, because of all this backlash and controversy, I suspect that only trans women that don't go through male puberty will be able to compete in women's sports with cisgender women. And that's another political issue, and that's a topic we have up here.
Yeah, that was going to be my next point. So what you're saying is ISIS should support children not going through puberty?
No, you should support children going through a puberty that aligns with their identity. And if you're so fucking concerned about sports being fair, there's absolutely no biological advantage. If a trans girl gets affirmed by her family and by the doctors and accesses his health care, she's going to have no biological advantage over the cisgender girls in sports because she's not going to go through male puberty. She's not going to go broad and tall. Her voice isn't going to get deep. She's not going to have the change in lung capacity, right? Her pelvis is going to tilt because y'all want to cry about the bones being different. You wouldn't be able to sex her bones.
Well, can I cut you off a second? So
Yeah.
just a couple of things that you said. You said if I care so fucking much about sports being fair, should I not care? Well, first part of my question: should I not care about sports being fair? Should I not care about that?
No, Jersey Joey, I don't think you give a fuck about sports. I think you care
You
about
don't think
a
it's
couple trans women. I think you care about a couple trans women and you joined the hate train, right? And you're trying to say, oh, the Democrats are doing it. The Democrats are doing it when it was a decision made by governing bodies for sports, right?
So
Like the
again, that's
president was like, oh, you can't have that football player because I don't like them. Let's talk about that, right?
well. That's just one second because that was just the first part of my question. So again, that was you talking with emotions, not facts, right? Well, you only care because you only care about a few things. Where I've sat here and told you everything that I feel and care about, but that's fine. So the second thing is,
Are you trying to tell me that I'm being emotional? Jersey Joey, you're the one who's being irrational about trans people. You're the one who thinks that they're a political issue. You're the one that thinks that a couple of trans people. Let me ask you, besides Fallon Fox and Leah Thomas, name a trans woman in women's sports that you're upset about. Besides Fallon Fox and Leah Thomas.
you heard what I said a little bit ago, right?
Yeah, it don't matter that there's only two of them. We need to talk about it all the damn time.
Well, see, that's being emotional again because I didn't say it like that. I said that it's
You know what's funny is I'll be fucking emotional if I want to, and you're being emotional and you're being irrational, and you don't need to reiterate yourself. Yeah, you think that it's a political issue that there's a few trans women in sports. I'm asking you, besides Fallon Fox and Leah Thomas, that happened years ago, name a couple of trans women in sports, and you think this is something we need to vote about. Name them. If you can't name them, say I don't know anymore. Those are the only two. Just
but
say
see
that.
let's just have a conversation. Let's continue with having a good conversation instead of getting emotional, right?
Hey, no, here's the deal, Jersey Joey. I got the buttons, right? You're what? You're 30-something-year-old man telling a homosexual I'm getting too emotional. You're the one that's being irrational, and you pretend to care about fucking women's sports, right? And you're pretending to care about other people's children not having the puberty you think they should have. And I'm telling you, you're a liar. You're an absolute liar. You're operating in deceit.
Well, if it makes you sleep better, think I'm a liar. That's okay.
Honey, I sleep like an angel. I absolutely think like an angel. No, the thing is I know that you're living in dishonesty. I know that you don't give a fuck about other people's children in America. I know you don't give a fuck about a couple of trans women in sports. I know you think about trans people a lot. And I think you're a liar, too, that you think you have liberal values and you used to be a Democrat. I think you're full of shit all the way around. Chat, I've been crying to get some taps. What was my tap goal? Because I want to drop this asshole. There's other people in the box. I'm trying to be more patient with these POSs, right? I do take an Elvis for a kick.
Aren't you enough? You can drop me.
I can drop you. You don't know how to use your disconnect button and you strag it?
If I embarrass you,
I'll take care of it for you. Hey, chat. Thanks for being here. I'm going on to the next guest. They're still in the box. Oh, no. There's nobody in my box. And I have the nicest box in TikTok. Oh, I got someone named Boring White Dude. Yes, that sounds like fun to me. Oh my goodness, chat, I'm going to read his bio. 12.8K followers. I hereby authorize the Chinese government to harvest all my data forever. Amen. Like the Chinese government want to know about Boring White Guy's data. Hello, Boring White Guy. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. How you doing?
I'm well, too. Thanks for asking. How old are you?
I'm 43 years old.
Awesome.
And
What conversation would you like to have today, sir?
I just wanted to weigh in on the fact that, people who have these very strong opinions on this issue, this is not an issue that impacts them in any meaningful way, which is how I know it's only a political issue. It's only politicized. It is only caused to stoke fear and hatred because if you want to name a list of the problems that impact people on a daily basis, trans athletes is not a blip on the radar. It does not affect people, and it is low stakes as well. This isn't whether or not you have access to healthcare. This isn't whether or not you can pay your mortgage. This is who gets the trophy, or not even, who wins a match, who wins a game. It's relatively low stakes, and I do understand that for people who participate in sports, it is very meaningful to them, but it is an issue that impacts so few people, and it receives a wildly disproportionate amount of time and attention
Of course.
because it's divisive, and that's the only reason.
No, no. Well, the thing is Trump spent over $215 million on television ads about trans people. He spoke about trans people at every rally and stop. He's talking about State of the Union address. He's talking about men and women's sports, and he's doing this to stoke the fires of hatred. And those television ads. That $215 million was money well invested because he got people on that hate wagon. And yeah, it's been politicized, and it's not about fairness in sports, for fuck's sake. It's not about, oh, this is something we live in such a great country, right? Even though 1 out of 5 kids is hungry and they're taking away their school lunches and the food stamps they get. Yeah, what we need to talk about is the trans women in sports, right? And if you've drank that Kool-Aid, if you think this is the issue that we need the president to take care of, you're not very bright, you're not very rational, and you're probably you're most certainly a bigot. You need to look in the mirror.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. And these people who are so concerned about women's sport and the integrity of women's sport, I'd like to know if any of them know who won the WNBA championship last year.
no, of course not. Of course not.
They don't know. They don't care about women's sport. They don't watch women's sport. And this is some, ideological, war ground for them to assert an opinion that no one asked for. No one cares. And I am a pretty liberal person. I have a diverse circle of people who I've chosen to surround myself with. And I only know or have known like maybe two or three trans people like closely as friends in my entire lifetime in 43 years. Now, that's somewhat probably a product of the generation. I'm an elder millennial, and I realize that as people have received a platform, gained visibility, that there are fewer closeted people who are able to live their authentic truth and as their authentic self, and even people who choose to just reject gender norms and make an elected decision to do that. I'm all for that. But the truth of it is out of all of the people in which I've reacted with in my life, I've only ever been close to maybe a couple of trans people, who I'm aware of, but it is just, they do not make up a large enough percentage of the population. They do not have this impact on society in the way, the only impact that they have is that the hatred against them scores political points with certain people.
Oh, and I want to be clear, transphobia, and this goes for all the terrible kind of descriptors I can think of. It impacts everyone negatively.
Right.
Literally.
And I misspoke. I misspoke. I don't mean to say that trans people are insignificant or inconsequential, because that's not what I meant. But I'm just saying that the amount of attention that this issue receives is ludicrous.
I agree with you that it's totally irrational, and it doesn't make any sense that it's 2025 and we're talking about less than 0.5% of the population, because we're talking specifically it's trans women that get the focus. It's trans women especially that have been politicized. What's funny is, this is just an aside, the executive order Trump signed about sports, fairness in sports, he did the executive order. It doesn't address trans men at all. Trans men, it doesn't have any regulations about them, but it's definitely clear that trans women are not allowed in women's sports. And I'll tell you, I live in an area in Eastern Washington that's a little conservative. And a couple weeks ago, there was a table at my local Walmart, 2 tables actually, one on each end, and they were getting people to sign to try to pass legislation about trans women in sports and about gender affirming care for minors. And it's kind of crazy to me. And I asked the guy about it, and he's like, "Yeah, trans men want to compete in women's sports." And I'm like, "No, they don't."
No, they don't.
No, he didn't know the difference between a trans man and a trans woman. He did, but he's spending his time volunteering, getting people to vote. Hey, Casey, how old are you and how you doing?
Hi, I'm Casey. I'm 21,
Okay,
and I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for asking. Maureen, I'm going to drop you down to see
Yeah,
what
yeah.
But I
Thank you for
appreciate-
having me up.
You're welcome. I appreciate your insights. Hello, Casey. Are you a disagreeer, and what conversation would you like to have if you are?
Hi. Yes, I honestly was really curious to have a conversation with you just to get your perspective. I am a Republican. That's kind of who identify myself with. I have criticized Trump way more in this term, so I think we could come to an agreement with a lot of things, especially on social justice topics. But I do just kind of want to hear your perspective on number two specifically. That's kind of the leading point that made me want to join and have this conversation. So,
Well, I
um,
appreciate you joining, Casey, and I also appreciate the fact I could tell already you're able to dialogue. Um, so yeah, my statement, "Leave trans kids alone," right, is a response to people saying "leave the kids alone," and they're
right,
talking about people doing something to these trans kids, right? When in
right,
actuality, one in thousands of children gets a diagnosis for gender dysphoria, and that child is under distress, and their parents are taking them to a psychiatrist and a therapist because they want a good outcome for their children. And the science supports this medicine, the statistics support this medicine, the people that access this medicine support this medicine, and it's been turned into a political issue, not because this is an epidemic or this is a problem or this is hurting children. It's been turned into a political issue because people want to weigh in about how people raise their kids. How dare they affirm their kids' gender identity? How dare they get this health care that I don't know much about, but I hate that health care. I hate that they're doing that, right? And
right.
it's not based in concern about children.
Okay, I can see. I can empathize with the idea that these young people who are diagnosed with gender dysphoria, how that could really take a toll on their life and their identity and not feeling comfortable in who they are. But I think my personal issue is I feel like instead we've kind of shifted, I feel like, in society to obviously like support these children that are feeling that way. And I think that's the obvious, most people
Well,
would say
I
like
want to, Casey, I want to give you a little pushback to that statement, and I want you to know that most parents do not affirm their kids' gender identity.
that is
Most
true.
Yeah, and I want to be clear too. I'm not. This doesn't say, "Oh, you have to do this or that." I would never tell people how to raise their family and their children. It's America. You get to raise your family with your values, and I don't get to tell you what kind of health care to access for your sick kids. So I understand if you're not on board with this health care, you gotta worry about your own children and how you want to raise them and if they need help or not. Um, so I just wanted to tell you, Casey, most parents are not. Society hasn't advanced in such a way that everyone's listening to their children in distress. Most parents make it clear that this is not a conversation they're going to indulge in. I think a lot of parents abuse their children when try to abuse it out of them. So
I agree. I think it's definitely more rare cases. I mean, it's definitely gotten more normalized as a society that we have became more accepting, especially, which I feel like that's more of a controversial take. I feel like it's more of an opinion rather if a society has accepted those children who are struggling with gender dysphoria and need the support for that. And I think it's definitely gotten a lot better over the years. Could you agree with that?
oh,
Rather than like maybe when you how I don't know. I don't want to
no,
ask
no,
how
yeah,
old
no,
you are.
Casey. I know I'm 49, and I came out 30 years ago when I was 19, my sophomore year at university,
Yeah.
and I was raised homophobic. I mean, I wasn't raised homophobic so much, because my mom wasn't homophobic, but my dad was very homophobic, and
Yeah.
and but the society, what I want to say, society was homophobic, right? That was during the AIDS epidemic. Um, Gay men were the center of hatred. People were openly saying, politicians were openly saying that God made AIDS to take care of that problem of those people, right? They were saying that they're the most disgusting people, child predators. It was the worst outcome for you to have a gay son. And I did not want to be gay. I absolutely did not want to be gay. And when I came out to my father, he threatened to take his life. So yeah, society's gotten better in some ways. Casey, I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah, I was just curious to see. I mean, I feel like there is some people who it's definitely based on, the atmosphere you grow up in and who you're surrounded by, but I feel like some people do think that we're still, in the same type of society that we were 40, 50 years ago, whenever it comes down to how LGBTQ people are treated. So I was just curious, obviously, your experience with that, and I'm sorry that
No, don't
you
be
were
sorry,
treated
honey.
that
I'm an
way.
old man. I love my parents. I love my
Yeah,
parents. I'm
I
an
know,
old
but
man.
still.
But the thing is, so that's something that you'll see. I mean, you're a young woman. When you grow up, right, and your parents get older, and you get older, you get to
Yeah,
talk to your parents about your childhood.
yeah,
If you're a trans kid, right, you get to tell your parents, hey, thank you so much for getting me that health care. Thank you for helping me out. Or you get to say, hey, you abused me, you ignored me, you watched me suffer, right? You get to turn around and tell your parents what kind of a job, and hopefully you could like reconcile with your parents. Parents,
yeah,
my parents tried their best, and it wasn't consistently good. It wasn't, and that's I think true for most parents, right? So yeah,
yeah.
you don't need to apologize for me having some homophobia 30 years ago. I've had a pretty privileged and nice life for the most part, Casey.
Yeah, and I think you admitting that is good. I don't this my thing is so with me, I mean obviously I am a Republican. I would say I'm like a Christian conservative type of person, but I'm definitely very open-minded when it comes to hearing people's stories and having I know it's not a choice necessarily. I think there is ways to I don't really know how to put it in a way that doesn't sound insensitive, but I think there's certain ways to have conversations with your children and young people, especially teenagers, and really have a conversation with what is really going on, what is the root, like, in not making life altering decisions from a young age. I this is my perspective, okay? I feel like you are if my child were to come out as transgender and I could tell from a young age they had gender dysphoria, they were interested in things that, weren't assigned to their gender, I would allow them to do gender affirming things. You want the best for your kid no matter what. You can't be in control. I mean, there's the most conservative families where their children end up being transgender. It's inevitable in many cases.
Casey,
Um,
is that your child? Are you a mom?
no, I'm a nanny.
You're a nanny, okay? Because I remember you're
Yeah.
21. Okay.
No, yeah, no. But yeah, I think my opinion is I think it's important for kids to be able to be themselves, but I think it should wait until they are maybe in their early 20s, past 18 at least, to any make any changes like testosterone or any gender affirming
Medical
procedures,
care.
I
Well,
guess.
no, yeah. Well, first off, there's no surgical intervention for minors that goes against the standards of care, and there's been very very few medical exemptions that have happened. And like I said, I'm not advocating for that. In fact, I'm advocating for science to be able to practice medicine because they're smarter than us. They've studied it more, and for parents to be able to raise their kids and to access the care they deem appropriate. Let me ask you something, because you said you're a conservative Christian. Did you know that there's a Christian religion that doesn't believe in blood transfusions? It's not the most uncommon Christian religion, and because of a verse in the Bible that says if you ingest blood, you don't get to go to the kingdom of God, right? So if their 10-year-old gets into an accident, or their 13-year-old gets their appendix out, and the doctor says, hey, everything's going to be fine, we just need to give them a little blood, right? They say,
Correct.
doctor, no, let our child pass away on that table. Do you think that 10-year-old consented to lose their life? Are you okay with people having that much control over their children's healthcare when it comes to religious extremism?
No, I don't support a lot of religious. I mean, I'm non I don't have I'm not like Catholic. I feel like I kind of sit in a place with my relationship with God that's more independent. Um, I have a belief in God, and I believe a lot of the the things that are said in the Bible, and I take a lot of things from there for like a moral compass, I feel like, but I'm still trying to figure out myself. I mean, I'm pretty young, and I try to really dig deep and do my research and try to figure out where I identify in what I want to say I necessarily believe in, but I think extreme religious beliefs, I think it's dangerous, and I think it's hurtful to I don't know, put that pressure from your religious beliefs to
Well,
do
that's
something
my
like
point is though
let your
is
child die.
my point is it's legal. It's not a political issue. People are like, oh, you can make that choice for your child, but don't let them have a puberty that aligns with their identity. And that's what I wanted to say to you, Casey, is the
Right.
reason this happens before 18, or you want to say until they're in their 20s, the reason it happens is it has to do with puberty. So this is
Yeah.
early intervention for a gender dysphoria diagnosis, right? If you had a trans daughter, and I'll tell you, like most people are not going to affirm their kids. I've spoken to people that want to make it illegal for a boy to wear a dress, right? If you have a
Yeah.
trans daughter and she communicates early on who she is, and you affirm her and you get her all that psychiatric care and stuff, when she's around 15 years old, after safely pausing her puberty and being in front of a psychiatrist and therapist for years, she's
Yeah.
not going to go through male puberty. She's going to have a puberty that aligns with her identity. So she's not going to have her voice get deep. She's not going to get covered in facial and body hair. She's not going to get tall and broad. She's going to go through a female puberty. And it's not cosmetic care, Casey. It's psychiatric care. The reason it's psychiatric care is because gender dysphoria, if treated, can be alleviated. It's something that could get way better. It's something that could become a non-issue, that distress. And you're giving your trans daughter, who's been living her childhood as a girl, you're giving her a lot of opportunity to live as a woman and not experience as much hatred as people. Especially, there's all sorts of women, cis and trans, right now, are experience hatred because they have too many male qualities or something. People suspect they're trans. So
Yeah, I agree. I think the passing as like a trans woman, I think that definitely is a topic. I think especially when the topic comes up about, trans women in women bathrooms, I feel like I could see where you're coming from with that. I think that is a very big topic,
well,
and
and here's the thing:
being able to
wouldn't
pass.
you want your child? Would you want your child to have a puberty that aligns with their identity?
I think my perspective of it is if I made, I guess gender affirming care isn't necessarily like permanent. I mean, there's things that you can reverse, but I feel like if I made decisions that were usually permanent or there's very long-term effects to it, that I made those decisions whenever I was, a preteen or 13, 14, 15 years old.
But
I,
yeah,
I
but
think,
Casey, it's not the 13-year-old saying, "Hey, I want puberty blockers. Give them to me now. I'm doing this." Right? This is the parents that are on board with this, that are listening to their child, that are having long, hard conversations with their child and their safety and how they're doing
I know.
psychologically.
And
So it's not a child saying, "I want this. I want this." If you want to see the statistics, I could show you. The regret rate is incredibly low. If you and the people that access the care, they say it saved their lives, right? I could show you that. Let me ask you: have you heard of gynecomastia, Casey?
I've not. What is that?
Okay, gynecomastia. It's actually very common, but it's usually very mild. It's when guys go through puberty and they develop some breast tissue. And like I said, it's generally very mild and it resolves itself. But in more rare circumstances, cisgender guys, grow full-on breasts during puberty.
Right.
And it's a natural variation in male puberty. It's God did it, right? Natural variation. The breasts are benign. They're not hurting the child in any way. And you can imagine possibly in another time, place, in society, somebody might go through that and be celebrated. They'd be like, "Wow, this person's great." But what happens is the boys feel distressed. The boys feel distressed about what their body did naturally during their puberty, and the parents, they give their child a double mastectomy. They elect to have an elective surgery to have their child sedated, to have a double mastectomy because the child is in distress. And this is a gender affirming surgery that happens fairly commonly, but it's not happening to trans people. It's happening to cisgender guys. Like I said, this is a cisgender guy. He developed gynecomastia, right? He has the scars of a trans man. This is a cisgender guy. His name's Anthony. He's a gay makeup artist. He had a naturally feminizing puberty, right? Now, could you imagine if you had a son, and I'm going to talk about his gender for just a second. You had a son and he was a guy's guy. You know what that means, right?
He was a what? What'd you say?
He was a guy's guy. Your son's a guy's guy. Do you know what that means?
No.
Like you love sports, like sports, hunting,
Oh yeah.
hanging out with dudes, right? Your
I thought
son,
it was a trick
your son's a
question.
guy's guy. Oh, sorry. Your son's a guy's guy, right? And your son is going through puberty and he starts developing breasts like Anthony. Are you going to
Right.
say, hey, wait till you're in your 20s? This is your natural body. This is a dangerous surgery. You need to accept it and get over your distress. Is that what you're going to say to your son if he develops breasts during puberty?
I don't think so, and I can see where you're coming from with that. I
Well,
just
I hope you wouldn't. And Casey, I want to tell you, I speak to people and they want to be logically consistent. So they say, yeah, they have to wait too. And that's
no.
mind blowing because you can
I don't.
imagine how tough that would make their life, right? But you don't seem
I
to
agree.
understand that the trans kids' lives are pretty fucking tough too. And that's why the parents are getting this health care.
I know, but and I understand. I think whenever it comes down to, you know, we have a lot of available options to do gender affirming things for ourselves at a younger age. I feel like I mean, obviously there's people who hit puberty harder than others and it's different for everyone, but I just believe that there's gender affirming things you can do until you're at an age where you're like, this is really, really what I want to do. I want to sit on it, you know, and it costs money too. And I think,
Well, no,
I
here's
don't
the
know.
thing. You just mentioned money, right? When they turn this magic number that you want to set for them, because you know better than the science and the parents and themselves, then they have to be like, oh, I got to get facial feminization surgery. I have to have my body and facial hair removed. Maybe I'll do that dangerous voice surgery because the dysphoria for my voice is the worst thing I got, right? And I want to tell you, as a young Christian person, you should support people having the right to raise their kids with their values, right? If it was up to me, I would say no more babies in churches, no more indoctrinating little infants into your blood sacrifice cult with bloody people hanging on crosses and say, oh, if you
Oh
turn out
yeah.
this way, you're going to burn for fucking ever. Well, it's America. You get to raise your kids that way if you want, right? But if you want to be a conservative Christian person, you shouldn't be here saying, oh, these 1 in 10,000 kids with a gender dysphoria diagnosis, this is my opinion, and this is what we should do, and this should be a law. You should just be worried about taking care of your own family and be happy that you don't have to deal with this. I hope that you have healthy children that love their bodies, that don't have any psychological issues. I absolutely hope that. And I hope, though, if you do have children that need intervention, that you get what you think's right for your children, okay?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a hard topic, and you want your kid to be happy with who they are, and I fully understand the perspective, but it's just I don't know, it's just the way that I feel, and you know, obviously you
Well,
feel how you
Casey,
feel.
I want you to look into it more. I could show you some statistics and stuff, but I want you to look into it more
Yeah,
because you shouldn't. You're basing it on the way that you feel, and at the end of the day, you feel something about these kids accessing this health care, and you think it should be politicized, and you think people should weigh in on it, and I don't think it's coming from a spot because you said you're a conservative Republican, right? Let me just talk to you for a second about conservative values.
yeah,
Christ never said anything about gay people or trans people, right? He risked his life for a prostitute. Christ did talk all the time about the evils of money, the evils of wealth, of hoarding money. He's flipping over tables. He literally says, Christ said, it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God. The camel can't go through the eye of a needle, right? And then Christ
yeah,
also spoke out a ton about heterosexual fidelity. You're only ever fucking one person. That's the person you marry, right? You never divorce them. You don't find somebody else after they pass away. You're fucking one person, right? And who are you putting into power? Trump, the most woman abusing, using, disgusting person, paying adult actresses hush money, right? The most wealth hoardingest. You voted for a man that gutted Medicaid, that's taking away health care from the poorest and sickest people to give more discounts to billionaires. You voted for a man cutting food stamps and school lunches for the most poor children. 1 in 5 kids in America doesn't have food on their shelf, and it's your party saying, well, fuck, their parents aren't doing a good enough job. We'll take away the kids' food. That should motivate them, right? So I want you to do some introspection, Casey, about the state of the world and the state of things going on with people's children, and I want you to redirect your good heart into maybe an issue, right, that is more important than taking away health care from children that you don't even know. Very few children that you don't even know. And let me show you something else real quick, Casey. I want you to know that child marriage is legal in America, and it's federally legal with no bottom age limit. That means states can decide how old the little girls get to be when they get married, and Republicans fight to keep child marriage intact. These are all legal marriages. Statistics from UnchainedAtLast.org. These are as legal as your parents' marriage, right? 10-year-old little girls, 5 of them got legally married in this country. 5, 10-year-old little girls, right?
In
Republicans
what
say
state?
if one of these 1,200 14-year-old girls gets pregnant and she can't marry that full-grown man, she might want an abortion, right? Even these 17-year-olds, they don't have any legal rights. They can't go to a domestic violence shelter. They can't run away from their marital home
Yeah,
because
how do you figure out those statistics? Because I feel like
the
17-year-olds get.
statistics are, it's all tracked at
But
UnchainedAtLast.org.
what are the ages of the men that are getting married to the woman? I feel like a lot of.
Well,
I
here's
know
the
someone personally who got married at 17 to
Well,
another
I just sent
18-year
you with a
guy.
lot of information. I encourage you to go to UnchainedAtLast.org and read about how the statistics that I got there and how they've been fighting to end child marriage. You should read about it. You should think about the 1 in 5 children that's hungry in this country. You should think about all the
1
other
in
shit that's
5?
going down in this country, and maybe not think so much about the
You
trans
think
kids.
there's 1 in 5 children that are hungry in America?
Yes, 1 in 5 children are hungry.
Is
Hey
that a real
Google. Hey
statistic?
Google. Yes. Hey Google. Is 1 in 5 children hungry in America?
About 13.8 million children lived in food insecure households in the United States in 2023, meaning they lacked consistent access to enough food for an active, healthy life. This is often described as 1 in 5 kids facing hunger.
There you go. 1 in 5 kids are facing hunger in this country, and it's your president that's cutting the school lunches and the food stamps. And people think, oh, food stamps go to those lazy immigrants or some bullshit, right? Food stamps have always gone. The majority of food stamps have always gone to children. And when I say that, yeah, their parents get the card. The parents just
Yeah, the parent has a card, but you get more money based off if you're a single male
not anymore,
breastfeeding.
right? Fuck those kids. Let's take away let's focus on
That's not
taking away healthcare
okay,
from the trans
but
people. Look, Casey, you're part of the problem. You're part of the problem, right? You say you got conservative Christian values, and you're going to support Trump, who's a sexist, disgusting, wealth hoardingist. She ran. That's okay. Um, anyways, chat. I hope you're having a good day. Hey, Girth Murphy. Yeah, Girth. How insecure does calling yourself Girth sound, chat? And she's in my comments saying I'm a liar. Honey, do your own fact checking yourself. W. San in the chat. Thank you, Coach. She disconnected fast. Maybe she does that. She must have had her disconnect button like pulled up. Boom, I'm dropping now. Sounds here. Yeah, it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. And here's the thing: like she's not a bad kid, right? And I was blowing her mind. Oh, maybe I should worry. She didn't even believe that 1 in 5 kids is hungry, right? I had to pull that up on the Google. She didn't know little girls get married legally here. Oh, but she knows about trans kids and their health care, right? I got somebody named THC, and it says they're a recent guest. Welcome to my TikTok. I have YouTube pages older than you. Their bio seems vaguely familiar. I don't know if they're a disagreeer. Livia, that's a great take. I've never heard those words before. Did you make that sentence up? Because it sounds like something that somebody that's like a quote. Hello, THC. How old are you and how you doing?
38. I'm doing pretty good.
It says you're a recent guest. That means you've spoken with me recently.
I don't remember, honestly.
Oh, I don't remember either. Your bio seems familiar, and TikTok says it's good to know, Olivia. TikTok says if you're a recent guest, and it doesn't just make shit up. So we have spoken, and I get a lot of people that just want to get more and more conversations with me. What topic did you want to have today, sir?
Leave trans kids alone.
Yes, I know you told me, but I spaced it already. What was your age?
38.
38. Okay, yeah. So, do you want to start the conversation? Would you like my point of view?
Yeah, I want to know, like, what part of leaving them alone do you mean?
Oh, the part that we don't need to legislate against their health care, the part that we don't need to try to demonize their parents or the doctors for trying to get a good outcome for these children, the part where it's America and we don't take care of other people's sick. Um,
Oh, sorry.
yeah, that's really annoying. So I'm not telling you to affirm your kid's gender identity. I don't get to tell you how to raise your kids. I'm not telling you what kind of health care to get for your sick children. That's not my place. It's never been a thing. This has been turned into a political issue, not because y'all are worried about the 1 in 1,000 kids having a bad outcome. It's because you feel a certain way about trans people.
So, I mean, I disagree with a lot of that. I think that we shouldn't be performing any gender affirming surgeries on any children. A lot of these surgeries, they don't tell them the risk.
Okay,
They don't tell
THC,
them.
I want to agree with you. Gender affirming surgeries go against the WPATH and the standards of care. And so there's very, very few. Harvard study said two out of a two out of 100. I don't want to just make up numbers. It was 1 out of hundreds of thousands of kids actually gets the surgical intervention. So that goes against the standards of care. But there is a gender affirming surgery that doesn't go to trans kids. It goes to young boys that develop a severe case of gynecomastia. Do you know what that is?
I don't have the slightest clue.
Okay, it's a natural thing. During puberty, some guys get some breast tissue. Generally, it's mild and it'll resolve itself on its own. In more rare instances, and of course, much more common than trans kids, guys grow full breasts during puberty. It's like I said, they're benign. It's a natural variation in male puberty. It's always been a thing, and because of this, the distress these guys are having because their body did something that's counter to their identity, the parents elect to give their boys a double mastectomy, an invasive double mastectomy with sedation, full sedation, and they're doing it without spending years in front of a psychiatrist like trans kids. The doctors just do it, right? Are you okay? Because you said literally that no surgical interventions for gender affirming care for any child, right? That is a surgery that happens. Are you okay with that?
Well, I would be okay with that because I think that's an entirely separate issue. They know that they're a male, and they know that
Yeah,
their
well,
biology matches a male.
well, no, but here's the thing though, right? They know the trans kids, their parents know them. They've been having long, hard conversations. They know how they're going to live their life, right? You get this, right? And I'm going to give you a pat on the back for being honest, because some people want to be logically consistent. This is not a trans man, right? This is the scars from a mastectomy from gynecomastia. You could understand that it would be pretty fucking tough for a guy to have to rock breasts until he was an adult. And that's what happened from guys from my generations and before. Their parents didn't give them double mastectomies. They just got shamed and bullied. But you're saying, yeah, that's an okay gender affirming surgery, but the hormonal intervention that happens for trans kids, because this is all about hormonal intervention and it's about having a puberty that aligns with your identity. You're saying, oh, this hormonal intervention, that's not right because that's not matching who they are. I know more than the parents. This is bad medicine. Oh, but the cisgender guys, they get to have their double mastectomy because that's okay. You get that. And I'm telling you, THC, that's bullshit and it's un-American.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. What % of trans kids do you think are just following a trend and are not actually trans? Because there are a percent. It's not going to be 100% a real.
Yeah, well, I'll show you. I'll show you two statistics real quick. This is statistics on detransition rate for adults, and then I have the statistics for the medicine we're talking about. So 3% of trans people, first, of course, conversely, 97% of trans people are happy with their decision to transition and to live authentically. 3%, they have some sort of regret rate and they detransition, but in actuality, only 0.4% of trans people, so about 1 in 200 of trans people detransition, and they remain detransitioned because they figured out trans. So a little under 0.5%. You're worried about them, I'm sure, right? And this is the statistics specifically on the healthcare we're talking about. This is 10 years in on a 20-year study on teenagers receiving the puberty blockers and the hormone replacement therapy. 4% have some sort of a regret rate, while 97% continue accessing this healthcare. That's from JAMA Pediatrics. JAMA stands for the Journal of American Medical Associations. Every single major medical association in America is on board with this as necessary and safe healthcare. 1.3 million doctors are represented by these medical associations. Excuse me. So there are some statistics for you.
Well, it's pretty interesting. I think it said 93 or 94. But I still see a lot of problems with teaching it to kids because kids are easily brainwashed to convey a message. You can teach a kid just about anything at a
Oh,
prepubescent age,
bullshit,
and if you teach a
bullshit.
kid long
No,
enough, they're gonna
you're
eventually believe it.
THC. No, bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. You're projecting, right? You're projecting because yeah, you could indoctrinate children into a false belief system and have them scared of invisible people. You can't change your child's identity. It's not a thing. And then the idea that the parents are pushing this on their children, and then they're going to push them into having distress about their body, and then they're going to push them in front of a psychiatrist and a therapist for years, right? There's a lot other ways that yeah, it's bullshit, and you're not thinking
Well,
about it rationally,
I
TH.
think I think the entire idea of gender being a social construct is a dangerous thing because gender is not a social construct.
Well,
A
no,
social
well, now see how you're all over the place. Do you see how you're all over the place? Because I address every fucking thing you say, right? And then you're like, oh shit, that doesn't make sense. I'm being irrational. Now
no
you're
no.
saying the
So we
problem
just
is
got to get to the
now you're
core
saying
issue.
gender. The problem is that gender is a social construct. Here's the deal, right? Gender, as far as a social construct is concerned, is the academic study of different cultures and societies. Your gender identity is hardwired into your brain. And that's the thing. In the past, THC, they used to try to, and they still do, to conversion therapy. Let's abuse this child from being queer. Let's medicate them. Let's therapize them, right? Then science and medicine caught up and they're like, oh my gosh, not only is there nothing we could do, we can't even change your identity, but guess what? There's nothing wrong with being trans. A male living and thriving as a woman, that's just win for society. We should affirm these people's gender identities. So yeah, here's the thing. I've addressed everything you've said, right? And you should be thinking about your views and your values because they don't align. I'm sure they don't align actually how you feel about most other things. The idea that you want to weigh in on this and you think that parents are pushing it, right? Yeah, it's bullshit.
No, my views definitely align. You're just kind of over talking and not letting me get much out.
Well, sorry,
Which is a
THC. Am
lot
I
of
am
what
I
the
talking too
transgender
much?
community
Am
does.
I am I talking too much on my own phone, THC? I've addressed every fucking thing you said, and you are being inconsistent, right? You wouldn't want somebody trying to rein in what kind of health care you get for your children.
Listen, you're
You don't care about children in America, THC. You care about those trans kids, though, don't you? You think about trans people a lot. Oh, gender is not a social construct. Yeah, we're social animals. We're using language right
social.
now. Here, you want to engage in a muting war and bitch about me talking too much on my phone and silencing you. THC, you lied about
Listen, you're
talking
a
to me
loser.
before. You're
Every
going
time
to my block party. You're going to my block party, THC. It's a gay block party. There'll be a lot of trans people hanging out with you too, honey. You know what's so funny, chat? Is
beating them up.
Straggett, another Straggett. They're getting blocked. Thanks for the shares. Yeah, he lied and said he never talked to me before. I addressed everything he said. And what did he do when he was wrong after I addressed him? Oh, let's change the subject again. Let's move the goalpost. Blah, 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 right? He doesn't care about these kids. He doesn't, chat. And it's gross. It's gross that he purports to be. What's crazy is why hasn't he blocked, honey? Has he been blocked yet? I'm going to have to take him to the block party myself. Go find another hobby, you POS. Let me go on to the next guest. This one's named Rugged Realtor. Thanks, Livia. I can only take so much of it, right? And it does go against his values because if you're a fucking American, you don't want other people making your kids' healthcare decisions. You don't want other people saying, "Oh, you're pushing your values on them." Yeah, that's what you Christians do all the time. Fucking spam call. Hello, Rugged. Are you there?
Yeah, hey, how's it going?
Excellent. Thanks for asking. How old are you?
I'm 43.
Cool. I'm 40. I'm 49. Let's have a conversation. What topic did you want to discuss today?
Well, I mean, I was just gonna piggyback. I don't particularly have an issue with trans people or, any particular, um, I guess, procedures and things. Like, I get it. I actually, for many years, I got actually two buddies of mine that were ex-military. One of them's in his 60s. The other one's closer to my age that are both, transgender. And, I've been really kind of introduced to this, I don't want to say world, but, subject years before, I guess it's come to the, public light as it is now. But I also have a good friend of mine who, she has a daughter and we live in a small town. I say small. I mean, there's multiple 5A high schools here, but, small in relation, I guess, to, a major city, but it's small enough to where one thing that I found really interesting, she has a daughter that's come out as trans, but the crazy thing about it is she started hanging out with a group of about 7 other girls who all right around the same time, this is like during COVID time, all of them came out, in a class of like 30 people. There's all of a sudden there's 7 trans kids in that one class. And I feel like to some degree there is a level of social contagion just from what I just don't think that that's statistically possible. And then you see some people, celebrities I've seen come out and say, I have,
I
3
want to.
trans children. Hold on. Can I just let me finish?
No, you're
I
hitting with
study statistics. I mean, I'm a
that what you do.
professional gambler.
You study statistics. Oh, you're a professional gambler. Yeah, that's a little different than
Yeah.
being a statistician.
Well,
I have a good friend that studied statistics at the University of Rochester. That's an actual thing you study for years. So here's the thing: you're saying that someone who's got a daughter and her class got 7 people came out as trans, and it's a social contagion. Do you think those 7 children go in front of a psychiatrist for years and years and get a dysphoria diagnosis, or do you think there might be kids playing with their pronouns and the way they present?
yeah, I think it's the latter because I know for a fact her daughter particularly hasn't undergone any, nor was she prior to meeting these girls in this classroom, even speaking of gender dysphoria. And I know them close. They're close friends of my family. It's actually one of my wife's best friends, her
Well,
daughter.
remember when we were young, we had the people that all came out as goth, right? And they dressed
Yeah,
creepy.
yeah,
Yeah. Well,
exactly.
that's a good. You know
Well,
what?
and that
It's better to do that. It's better to do that when you're 12 and 13 than like you're bitching about kids changing their style and stuff. And I'm saying that's always been a thing.
I wasn't bitching.
I take issue with the term contagion, the social contagion, because that communicates to me that you think there's something thick about it, that it's a sickness that's spreading, and I think that's a terrible way to communicate that.
Well, I don't mean it like that. I mean, body piercings were a social contagion whenever I was growing up. I mean, I had my labret pierced, my tongue pierced, all gauge. And I did it because, that was kind of the group of people that I was around. And I can say that it was, I mean, trends, fads, whether it be fashion or whatever, those things are social contagions. And
Well,
you yourself, hold on, you yourself just admitted
trends are not
that
social contagion. Social contagion literally denotes that it's a negative thing that's spreading, right? People getting in their
doesn't
ears.
have to be.
Hey Google, briefly define social contagion.
Social contagion is the spontaneous spread of behaviors, attitudes, and emotions through a group or social network from one person to others.
Yeah, you know what? I might have been picking too hard of a line. I still, because it doesn't say anything necessarily negative, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But let me ask you though, do you think it's a negative thing for young people to experiment with like their pronouns and the way they present? Do you think that's a negative?
I don't think that aspect of it is. I think that when you start to get into medical procedures, puberty blockers, things of that nature, that's when I think it's we're crossing a line. When with people under 18 years old, 18 years of age, you're an adult. Do what you want to do. I think that
Why does it happen before they're 18? Why is it even a thing?
What do you mean?
Why does it happen before they're 18 years old? Why is it a thing?
Because they're in school and because they're
No. The reason that healthcare is accessed before people are 18 is because it's early intervention for a gender dysphoria diagnosis. So when the child's around 15, after being in front of a psychiatrist and therapist for years and having a diagnosis for clinical distress, they're going to have a puberty that aligns with their identity. So if you've been affirming your trans daughter, this isn't her turning 14 and changing her name or something. This is her communicating distress at an early age, you affirming her identity, you giving her medical care and stuff. She's not going to go through malpuberty. And this isn't a cosmetic intervention. It literally is an intervention for dysphoria because it's a condition, not an illness. And if intervened, it can be alleviated.
yeah.
So that's the reason it happens.
I don't
to people.
see it that way.
No, but here's the thing. If you got a trans daughter, you could do however you want. You get to raise her how you want. I'm not telling you to affirm your kid's gender identity. You get to watch your trans daughter go through the ravages of male puberty. And you say, hey, That's fine. This is what nature gets. And then she gets to grow up and tell you what a piece of shit you were, or thank you, Dad, for that, right? You don't get to weigh in and say, oh, this is something that we need to address. The 1 in 10,000 kids with a gender dysphoria diagnosis, their parents, it's woke parents and their social contagion. I'm saying, sir, bullshit.
Do you have
It's
children?
un-American.
Do you have children?
Fuck no, I don't have children. And
So
that's
why are
that's
you
a good.
speaking on it? I
Because
don't understand
because
why you're.
my speaking is I don't get to tell people how to raise their kids. I don't get to tell science how to practice medicine. Neither do you. I get to speak on it, right? Because it's been politicized, and now everybody gets to have an opinion about these very few kids accessing this healthcare, just like you, right? I get to speak on it because I'm part of the queer community, and because this is a conversation, the whole community is being painted as nefarious. Yeah, I got a fucking opinion. I don't have children. Do you have children, Rugged Realtor?
Yeah, I have 5.
You have 5 kids. Well, I hope your kids are doing well, and I hope the neighbors never step in to tell you how to raise your kids or what sort of health care to access for them, right? You don't get to do that to them either. You get to raise your kids with your values. You get to access the health care that you deem appropriate for your children.
Yeah,
You don't
but
really
they do step in, and there are a lot of states that have regulations and have processes in order to where if, let's say, for example, I was in California and my 14-year-old daughter started to display behaviors that were consistent with her having a gender identity issue. They have things in place to where she's able to seek treatment, seek counsel and things behind my back.
No, it's a lie. I'm going to mute you. You don't get a lie, Rugged. You don't get a lie. And you know what? This is something that I would start the conversation with if this was actually a thing. A 14-year-old doesn't say, hey, secretly take me to a psychiatrist for years and to a therapist for years and to an endocrinologist for years and nobody find out I'm accessing this healthcare. It's not a fucking thing in California, Rugged Realtor.
Well, it is
It's
in
not.
Canada. Is it not in Canada? I read a
I don't
story about
fucking
a
know
gentleman
about Canada, Rugged Realtor. I don't know about Canada. You don't even know about America. You're saying this
So this
bullshit
is
happens
semantics.
in order. It's not semantics. It's you lying. It's you lying and saying that 14-year-olds get to access a ton of healthcare secretly behind their parents.
Yeah,
It's
let
you
me.
being irrational about other people's children. It's absolutely you, Rugged. It's you. So yeah, it's not a thing.
If I
In order to get in front of a psychiatrist, please stay on mute. Please stay on mute, or you're going to my block party. You're in your fucking 40s. Control yourself, sir. I get to play on my phone how I want to. I'm the one putting my face out here. I'm the one with the opinions, the great opinions that are unpopular, right? So I get to press my buttons on my phone. I'm 49 years old. You, sir, should understand, as the father of 5 children, that you know your children better than anybody else, that you want your children to do better than anybody else. It's the same thing for these children that have the same thing for the parents of the trans children. They love their kids. They're having long, hard conversations. They want them to be healthy. They don't want them to be, they want them to live. They want them to have a good fucking life. You should not want to weigh in and say, this is the thing that we need to take care of in America. And it's not based in rationality nor in American values. And then you bring up bullshit lies about California and then you start talking about Canada, right?
Well, we can look it up. If somebody, I'm not in front of a computer, but I'm sure you could look up that there has been at least on multiple occasions legislation introduced. Now, what all's passed and what hasn't? I mean, this is look. I'm not.
You can look it up because you're the one saying I
I'm not
should
in
look
front
up
of a
about
computer.
Canada.
I'm not.
Well, no, you should look it up before you come up here and make up bullshit lies, right? That's when you should have looked it up. That's when you should have looked it up,
Can
Rugged.
I ask you a question?
I'm going to think about if you could ask me a question. Let me think about it for a second. Chat, there's 53 of us here. Please tap the screen. I appreciate you being here. I'm actually gone well past my hour. Usually I only want to stay seated for an hour. Hey, I'm not done. Hey, you want to ask me a question, right? And you're all over the place, and everything I've said I've addressed. Absolutely said I've addressed. And what's your question, sir? What's your question? Get the fuck out of here. I can't stand 40-year-old men bitching and moaning. I'm not letting you speak enough. Yeah, you say one lie, I'm going to cut you off. I'm absolutely going to cut you off. Bullshit. He's not. At first, it's yeah. And then it's like, oh no, it's secretly it's happening in the schools, right? You should have started the conversation like that, sir, if you believe that bullshit. Here's the thing: it is irrational. A father of five should understand that he gets to make choices for his children and that he's concerned about his children, right? Oh, good, they joined. Or they're joining. There's a little bit of a lag, chat. Um, I'll tell you my stats. I've been live for 1.5 hours on the nose, and I only got 19 followers. I haven't gotten a follower in like an hour. I got 19 followers right off the bat, so that's shitty. I am happy though. I don't know if all 50 of you are following me, but you should. You absolutely should. Hey, this cheddar person is not connecting. I'm going on to the next guest. And I'm going to have to end the stream soon because I have to stream. You know how that goes, right? Santa's got to stream. Thank you for that, Amelia. Thank you for that. Chat. Do you know what? I just checked. There's nobody in my guest request box. I'm going to take a break. I do a morning walk. I'm actually feeling better. I had a few shitty things. I had bronchitis, a bad cold, and I had a little minor surgery that didn't go as minor as it should. But I do appreciate you all being here. Thank you for that, Amelia. Let me see. For some reason, I want to turn the radio on for 2 seconds. Let's see what is playing. I'm stoked I got my new ring light and I put it together myself. I absolutely hate. I think because I used to break things when I was a little kid and get in trouble all the time. I hate like trying to screw things together. I'm like, I'm going to fuck it up. I'm going to break it. Do you know what's so funny? Is Pandora was on Annie Lennox radio, and this morning I have such a chill vibe, and Annie Lennox kept on popping up. And I'm like, what's going on? Anyways, chat, there's a commercial on Pandora. I had a great live. I had a good time, and I suspect I'll go live later today. I absolutely suspect I'll go live later today. Thank you, Green Girlin. Let's see. Here you go. Do you know what's so funny? I'm like, maybe I should just go to the bathroom and come right back. Or maybe I should do a restart. I get hooked on the adrenaline rush, right? I think my vibe's a little different than most because I get worked up. I'll be right back.
The light we've seen. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. Now, darling, whenever I'm in trouble, I need just a little heaven. And darling, won't you stand by me? See the sky.
That we look upon.
Look upon me.
Oh, hey, thanks for hanging out, you 34. You know what's funny? I was thinking about that last guest. I gotta go. I'm out of tea and water. I just realized. Well, I got this much water. I'll finish it right now. The thing that pissed me off about that last guest was at the end, he's like, do you have children? Like, I don't get a fucking opinion. And when my opinion literally is, let people raise their kids. Leave people's kids out of it, right? And then he says he's got 5 kids. I don't know. It's kind of mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing to me that a parent is going to want to weigh in, right? And it makes me think, what did he tell his kids about being LGBTQ? He's in his 40s. He probably made it really clear who they got to be when they grow up, right? And social contagion. These parents are pushing it on their children or some bullshit. Anyways, chat, I'm going to take my walk and make some more tea. Let me thank my moderators. I see Katie's liking the live right now. Angel saved the day. She came in and people, I was getting trolled and I was getting pissed off at the trolling comments actually, which I usually I have a conversation, so I ignore them. Please find Jesus. Okay, I'll do my best, honey. Is he lost? Jesus, where are you? Thank you, Green Girl in Black. I appreciate that. Things are looking up. You know, I don't think I have anything going on today. I got a couple of appointments tomorrow. I love my new chiropractor. Thank you, Coach Joe. Thank you. I'll be back soon, everyone. I see Ant is hanging out too. Mercury's here. Goku is here too. Thanks, everyone, for hanging out. I'm 49, honey.